A husband accidentally discovers a hidden account with hundreds of thousands of dollars in his wife's name. The next day, she's gone. No note. No trace. No help from police. But when he starts digging, he uncovers a dark truth, and she wasn't the only one keeping secrets. But before we dive into the details of the story, kindly drop in the comment section the location you are watching from, and push the subscription button for notification on captivating and interesting stories on Chase Studio series. Now let's continue with the story. They were the couple everyone envied. To the outside world, Daniel and Megan Larkins had it all: careers they loved, a beautiful two-story home in the quiet suburbs of Charlotte, North Carolina, and that rare kind of love that seemed unshakable. At least, that's what everyone thought. Daniel, a 39-year-old structural engineer, was the kind of man who still opened doors for his wife, still left handwritten notes on the kitchen counter before heading to work. He believed in marriage, deeply. And he believed Megan loved him back just as fiercely. They met at a charity gala 9 years ago. She was a paralegal with a razor-sharp wit and a laugh that turned heads. He fell hard. She moved in within 6 months. They were married within a year. From the outside, it was the American dream. But dreams, especially the pretty ones, have a way of hiding what's underneath. Looking back, Daniel said there were signs. Megan started spending more time on her phone at odd hours. She'd step outside to take calls. Started locking her office door when she worked from home. Harmless quirks, he thought. Everyone needs space, right? Then came the business trips, short ones, usually just overnight, always with the same excuse: client meetings in Asheville. The law firm needed her expertise, she said. Daniel never questioned it. Until that Saturday. It was a warm, quiet morning. Megan was out on a coffee run, her usual Saturday ritual. Daniel had offered to go, but she insisted. "I need the air," she said. Something in her tone, flat, distant. While she was gone, Daniel decided to hang a shelf in the closet. He opened the upper cabinet to clear space, and something strange caught his eye. A small black envelope, thick with paper. It was tucked behind a box of old scarves, almost like it was never meant to be found. Curious, he pulled it down. Inside were printouts, bank statements. Dozens of them. All under a name he didn't recognize, M.E. Lancaster. But the address was theirs. And the signature at the bottom of the documents was unmistakable. Megan's. The account held $384,000. Daniel's stomach dropped. This wasn't their joint account. They had one savings account together, a modest one, with just under 10 grand for emergencies. But this account? He'd never seen it. Never even heard of the bank. For the next 30 minutes, he sat on the edge of the bed, reading every page. The deposits went back 5 years. Small at first, $500 here, $1,200 there. But then, a sudden shift. Larger transfers. Regular deposits of $5,000, $10,000. One was for $50,000. All cash. The last withdrawal? Just 3 days ago. $12,000. Daniel's hands shook. Who was M.E. Lancaster? Why was Megan hiding a second identity? And where was that money coming from? He didn't even hear her come in. "Hey, babe, got your usual." She was smiling when she walked into the room. Coffee in one hand, a croissant in the other. But when she saw what he was holding, her face changed. Not shocked. Not confused. Just cold. Like a switch flipped. "I found this," he said quietly. For a second, she didn't say a word. Just stared at the folder in his hand. Then, without breaking eye contact, she set the coffee on the dresser and said the words that would haunt him for the rest of his life. "You shouldn't have gone through my things." She didn't yell. She didn't cry. She just turned and walked into the bathroom, closing the door behind her. That night, they barely spoke. Megan claimed it was a legal thing, Part of a case she couldn't discuss. Confidential, she said. Just leave it alone. But Daniel couldn't. Something was wrong. He knew it. Felt it in his bones. He slept on the couch, eyes open most of the night. And in the morning, Megan was gone. Gone, like she never existed. By sunrise, the house was silent. Too silent. Daniel sat up from the couch, neck stiff, eyes heavy. He blinked at the empty staircase. The bedroom door was ajar, but no sounds came from inside. No hairdryer, no clinking mugs, not even the usual low hum of Megan's morning playlist. He called her name. Once. Twice. Nothing. Her keys were gone. Her purse too. But something didn't add up. The car was still in the driveway. He paced the hallway, checking every room, every closet. Maybe she went for a walk? Maybe she was angry, clearing her head? Then he checked the front door. Unlocked. Megan always locked the door. It was her thing, even triple-checked it every night. Daniel's chest tightened. Her phone went straight to voicemail. He texted. Called again. Left a voice message. Nothing. He checked her closet, half her clothes were missing. So was her passport. And the folder he found the day before? The one with the bank statements? Gone. Just like that. Megan had vanished. When Daniel reported her missing later that afternoon, the police weren't exactly sympathetic. She's an adult, the responding officer shrugged. Maybe she just needed space. He tried to explain about the hidden bank account. About the strange name on the statements, M.E. Lancaster. He mentioned the cold reaction the night before. The empty closet. The passport. The cash withdrawals. But the detective just raised an eyebrow. And when did you last see her? Yesterday morning, Daniel said. Right before I found the envelope. That was all they needed to hear. Within the hour, they were asking him questions. What was their marriage like? Had they fought recently? Was there a history of domestic disputes? Daniel answered honestly, no, never. But the doubt in their eyes was unmistakable. One officer even asked if Megan had life insurance. She did. A $250,000 policy. Daniel was listed as the beneficiary. That's when he realized something terrible. He was the prime suspect. He couldn't sit and wait. If the police weren't going to help, he had to dig himself. He started with the bank. The branch was a small, private institution, Raynard Federal Credit Union, 2 towns over. One of those places you only knew about if someone told you about it. When he called, they refused to give any information, citing privacy law. So he drove there. He asked to speak to a manager. Showed a copy of his marriage license. Told them his wife was missing. Still, nothing. The teller apologized politely but firmly. It was clear, this account was protected. Purposefully. Then came a breakthrough. Melissa Elaine Lancaster. A name Megan used before she married him. A name Daniel had never heard until now. He found a traffic ticket under that alias dated 3 years ago. And an apartment lease. In Asheville. Signed and paid for monthly, for nearly a year. The lease ended 6 months ago. Megan had been living a double life. 2 identities. 2 addresses. 2 bank accounts. And for how long? That night, Daniel barely slept. His wife had money. A second name. An apartment he didn't know about. And now, she was gone. But one thing was clear. She hadn't disappeared. She had planned this. The apartment in Asheville was real. Unit 3B, tucked behind a brick facade with faded green shutters. Daniel stood in the parking lot that night, staring at it like it might blink back at him. The leasing office had closed hours ago, but a woman from the neighboring unit, curious and talkative, filled in some blanks. Oh yeah, she lived there alone. Pretty, real quiet. Went by Melissa. Moved out a few months back. Said she got a new job up north. Daniel forced a smile. His heart, meanwhile, had turned to stone. That wasn't a job transfer. That was part of the exit strategy. Inside the car, he laid out everything he now knew. Megan had a second identity, Melissa Elaine Lancaster. She had a hidden bank account worth over $300,000. She kept a separate apartment, completely furnished. And now she was missing, leaving Daniel behind with questions and growing suspicion from the police. But the story was just beginning to unravel. Daniel went into full investigation mode. He hacked into Megan's old laptop, not hard, considering her passwords were still a variation of their wedding date. What he found chilled him. Encrypted emails. Private folders labeled Safehouse Docs, Phase 2, and Exit. One PDF contained a scanned driver's license with her photo but a different name, Danielle Marks. Issued out of Florida. There were train ticket stubs to Savannah, Tampa, and one unopened envelope with a plane itinerary to Belize. Dated for the next week. So she wasn't running from him, she was running from something else. But when he tried to hand the evidence over to police, they didn't celebrate the breakthrough. Instead, they leaned in harder. You expect us to believe your wife had all this and didn't tell you anything? Who forged this ID? Why were you digging into her files? That's when they dropped the real bombshell. They had found blood. In the trunk of Megan's car. A lot of it. Still waiting on DNA results, but it wasn't looking good. Daniel's world began to crumble. To the world, he wasn't the heartbroken husband anymore. He was the man whose wife vanished right after he discovered her secret life, and whose car now held traces of blood. The media caught on fast. Headlines read like something out of a movie. Engineer's wife vanishes in bizarre double-life mystery. Secret identity, hidden cash, and now, blood. Daniel couldn't leave the house without a camera in his face. Couldn't go to work. Couldn't think. And still, no body. No signs of Megan. No withdrawals. No phone pings. It was like she vanished into thin air. But something deep inside Daniel whispered. She's alive. He just didn't know why she left, or who she was running from. I don't know if I ever really knew her, he whispers. But whatever she was into, someone wanted it buried. And now they're looking at me. Weeks had passed. No word from Megan. No new leads. Just silence. The blood in her trunk? Preliminary tests confirmed it was human, but not conclusively hers. Police still treated Daniel like the lead suspect, even without a body. He'd been suspended from work. Friends stopped calling. Even his own family grew distant. Every night, Daniel replayed everything, every moment, every conversation, trying to find the crack. The clue. The why. But what he found next didn't come from the past. It came from an email. The subject line read, "You don't know what she was hiding." No sender. No return address. Attached was a single PDF file titled Ashgrove Storage 108. It was a receipt. Under the name, Melissa Lancaster. Daniel didn't hesitate. Inside Unit 108 was a duffel bag. Inside that, two things. 1, a prepaid burner phone. 2, a thick envelope labeled, "If anything happens to me." His hands shook as he opened it. There were photos. Dozens of them. All of the same man. Dark hair. Late 40s. Expensive suits. Always watching Megan, on a train, in a parking lot, outside their house. A typed note read, "If I disappear, this man is involved. His name is Vincent Rourke. He used to be my boss. He's dangerous. He knows things I found out about the company. I tried to go to HR once. They buried it. Then the threat started. Then the follow cars. I started a file. It's in the cloud. Password is our honeymoon date and the name of the street we stayed on. Please don't trust the police yet. Find the file. Get it to the press if you have to. If I'm gone, he made it happen." Daniel nearly dropped the letter. Vincent Rourke. The same man Megan mentioned once, maybe twice. She worked under him when she did freelance project management before joining the hospital. But that job was years ago. She said she left it because of the commute. Now it was clear, she left because of fear. It worked. Inside was a folder titled Project Halcyon, Black Site Funding. It was a detailed record of offshore wire transfers, shell companies, fake contracts, whistleblower complaints that were ignored or deleted. It was enough to bring down a corporation. And Megan had been the one documenting it. Suddenly, it made sense. The second identity. The hidden apartment. The burner phone. The secret file. Megan hadn't just run from her life, she'd run for it. "Mr. Keene?" one asks, flashing a badge. "Can we talk?" "About your wife." Daniel steps back. "You're not local PD." "We're not. We're federal." Microphone hash sound, deep, dramatic chord. They close the door behind them. And for the first time since she vanished, Daniel sees something in their eyes the police never showed him. Concern. "Vincent Rourke," Agent Madison said, sliding a file across the table, "isn't just your wife's ex-boss. He's under federal investigation." Daniel's breath caught in his throat. Money laundering. Corporate fraud. Political kickbacks. But we've never been able to nail him, because everyone who talks either recants or disappears. And you think Megan was next? We think Megan got too close. Agent Madison pointed to a photo. This was taken at a company called Vanlo Holdings, a shell company Rourke uses. She went in at 9:48 a.m. She didn't come out until nearly 1 p.m. We believe she copied internal files. And after that, she vanished. Daniel's head spun. All this time, he thought she'd betrayed him. But she was risking her life to do what was right. He stayed up all night going through the files. Every document Megan had uploaded told a piece of the puzzle. Offshore accounts tied to senators, slush funds disguised as development projects, bribery payments sent through charitable fronts. It was dangerous. Explosive. But something still didn't add up. Why would she run before turning it over to authorities? Why disappear instead of blow the whistle? And then he found the final file. A video. "If you're seeing this, something went wrong. I got an email from someone inside. They told me Rourke found out what I was doing. They said I have 48 hours before he makes a move. I can't go to the police. I think they're compromised." She pauses, voice cracking. "Danny, I never meant to lie. But if I told you, you'd try to stop me. Or worse, get hurt. So I'm going to disappear. I have a contact who promised safe passage. I don't know where I'll be, but if you find this, it means I didn't make it." A final whisper. "I love you." Daniel closed the laptop with shaking hands. She didn't leave because she wanted to. She left because she had to. "If you find anything else, call this number. Direct line." Daniel stepped back. "I want in." Madison raised an eyebrow. "Excuse me?" "I know her. I know her patterns. If she's alive, I'll find her. If she's dead, I'll find who did it." Madison paused. Then handed him a sealed folder. "Then you'll want to start with this." Inside, airport security footage. A woman with Megan's build. Wearing sunglasses. Boarding a charter flight out of Raleigh. Destination, unknown. But the timestamp? 2 days after the day police believe she went missing. Daniel stared at the timestamp again. 2 days after she was reported missing. That meant one terrifying truth. Megan was alive, at least for a little while longer than everyone thought. She used a fake name, Carla Jensen, Madison explained, laying out a manifest. Charter flight to Belize. Passenger list says she traveled alone. No return ticket. Daniel's thoughts raced. Megan hated flying. Hated heat. She once joked she'd die in Canada before she ever sunned in the tropics. Something was off. Why Belize? Agent Madison slid him a sealed file. The man who helped her get on that flight is one of our confidential informants. Name's Marcos Alvarez. Former cartel runner turned asset. We haven't heard from him in months either. Daniel's heart sank. This wasn't just betrayal. It was a war she'd walked into. He digs. And what he finds is a chilling pattern. Megan had been researching offshore shell companies registered in San Pedro, Belize, all tied back to Vincent Rourke. Accounts used to funnel corporate slush money. Accounts connected to violent criminal entities. And she'd gone there, alone. Madison didn't want him going. Too dangerous. Too unstable. But Daniel didn't care. He was done sitting in grief. The place is ransacked. No signs of life. No blood. No body. But taped under the kitchen sink, he finds a flash drive. He plugs it into his laptop. Inside, video logs. Megan's face appears. Sweaty. Nervous. Alive. It's day 5. I've got most of the documents copied. Marcos says we're almost ready. But I saw someone following us in town today. Rourke's people are here. I know it. If this gets out, everything changes. They'll finally see who he really is. She looks straight into the lens. If I don't make it back, tell Danny I never stopped loving him. Not once. Daniel's jaw clenched. She was so close. 2 men. Sunglasses. Suits. Armed. Daniel grabs the drive, his backpack, and bolts out the back. He dives down a ravine, crashing into a shallow creek, breath heaving. Whatever Megan was trying to expose, they were still trying to bury it. And now he was the target. Madison's voice on the phone crackled with urgency. You have no idea what you just delivered. This is everything we need to bring Rourke down. Financials, witness testimony, timelines, it's airtight. Daniel leaned back in the rickety chair, drenched, bruised, but alive. Then find her, he said. Before they do. Madison paused. We're going to need protection for you now. You just became the star witness. She was alive. And now he had the power to finish what she started. Chapter 7, The Judas Contract. But it's not Megan. It's a woman named Daniela Cortez, a whistleblower who once worked for Rourke and vanished 5 years ago. She's the first person who ever tried to expose him. And now, she's suddenly resurfaced, in a Belizean hospital, in critical condition, after being found dumped near a sugarcane field. Daniel's flight had barely touched back down in the US when Madison called him. She's conscious, and asking for you. Your wife, she was brave. Stupid, but brave. She found the ledger. That's what got her on Rourke's radar. Daniel leans in, barely breathing. Rourke doesn't kill people himself. He uses men like Thomas Navarro. Silent. Precise. Megan was smart, she went to Alvarez first. But Alvarez had a price. He sold her out the minute he got nervous. Daniel's heart sinks. She's not dead, Daniela whispers. Not yet. But if she still has the ledger, she's running out of time. Madison slams a hand on the table. That ledger is the only piece we don't have. With it, we can destroy Rourke, the shell companies, and 3 sitting congressmen. Without it, we're still guessing. Daniel studies a satellite photo on the table, an island off the coast of Belize. Small. Uninhabited. But there's a single dock. And a faint heat signature. It was last accessed 8 days ago, the same day Megan's signal went dark. She's there, Daniel says. I know it. They land at the dock. Footprints. Drag marks. But no boat. They move fast. Through jungle brush. Toward a metal shack built into a hill. Inside, darkness, and a smell of blood and gasoline. They find the first body, Marcos Alvarez. Shot execution style. But no Megan. Just a blood-stained piece of fabric, from the dress she wore in the airport video. And carved into the wall, in jagged letters. You chose the wrong war. He's baiting you, she says. Daniel doesn't flinch. No. He's testing me. Daniel plays the audio again and again. He recognizes the voice. But it isn't Rourke. It's Judge Kenneth Bellamy, a longtime family friend. And one of the men Daniel once trusted to oversee his parents' estate. Daniel's jaw clenches. The betrayal runs deeper than he ever imagined. You knew where she was, Daniel says quietly. Bellamy sighs. I didn't know they'd go this far. You gave her to Rourke. No, Bellamy snaps. I gave her a way out. But she wouldn't run. She wanted to expose him. And now, we're all in danger. He hands Daniel a USB. This is your Judas contract. Daniel frowns. What is this? Bellamy looks around, paranoid. It's proof that Rourke didn't just launder money. He orchestrated assassinations. Domestic ones. That makes him untouchable, unless you leak this exactly right. Or we all end up in shallow graves. Not fear. Purpose. He's not just looking for Megan anymore. He's preparing for war. Daniel stood outside the cabin, heart pounding. According to Bellamy's USB files, this was where Megan had planned her final stand, the place she called her last safe house. Inside were pages of encrypted files, burner phones, and a journal filled with frantic notes. If you're reading this, I'm gone, or worse. But I've left clues in the ledger. It's the only way to bring them down. Daniel, don't trust anyone but yourself. They're watching. Daniel's hands trembled. Gun drawn, he tensed. But it was Madison and 2 federal agents. You're not alone anymore, Madison said. This is the moment, Madison declared. We expose Rourke and his network once and for all. His voice steady. I'm coming for you. And I'm taking them all down. Daniel watched as the task force moved into action. The evidence from Megan's ledger and Bellamy's Judas contract had ignited a full-scale investigation, targeting not only Vincent Rourke, but his entire criminal network. Agent Madison leaned in. We have your communications, your financial transfers. You cooperate, you stay alive. The man swallowed hard, then began to talk, unraveling names, locations, and dates. Daniel, they've moved me. I'm being held at an abandoned plantation, on the outskirts of Belize City. His breath caught. Hold on, Megan. I'm coming. The plantation is surrounded by armed guards. Daniel and Madison lead the breach. Gunfire cracks through the humid night. You kept your promise, Megan whispers. And I'm keeping mine, Daniel replies, cutting her loose. Daniel looks at her, determined. We'll finish this together. The day of reckoning had arrived. Vincent Rourke sat at the defendant's table, his usual smug expression replaced by a cold, calculating stare. Daniel and Megan sat side by side, battle-worn but unbroken. Megan's voice was steady. He destroyed lives for profit. I almost became one of them. I thought I was protecting innocent people, he confessed. I was wrong. The foreman stands. We find the defendant guilty on all counts. Justice wasn't just served, it was earned. Betrayal cut deep, but truth cut deeper. And sometimes, justice isn't just about winning, it's about surviving the fight. If you enjoyed this episode of Chase Studio Stories, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Your support helps us continue to share impactful and meaningful content.